I just want to share a couple of thoughts with you about Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The first one is that there's and I think that this is something that applies to us, especially for some people right now, especially the Gemara says we're judged on Rosh Hashanah. There's a judgment of some sort on Rosh Hashanah. Okay. So, what kind of judgment is this? What is this judgment? And then there are different opinions in the Talmud. When is man judged? Man is judged every day. Man is judged every year. What's being judged? So there is an opinion in the Gemara. Man is judged every day. How can we be judged every day? We know that we're judged on Rosh Hashanah. We're given our what's it called when the boss your budget. You're given your budget for the coming year, the budget of health, children, family, whatever it is. You're given your budget for the next year to perform. So what does it mean we're judged every day? So the Baal Shem Tov explains like this. On Rosh Hashanah, there's an objective judgment. This guy's going to make money, this guy's going to lose money, this one's going to be healthy, this one may pass away. There are all sorts of judgments on Rosh Hashanah. After the objective judgment, imagine a person is given a judgment and a person goes through a difficult situation. I had a friend, I always thought of this Baal Shem Tov. I had a friend who was a double amputee from the knees up, above the knee. So he had a liver transplant, and something went wrong, and he had both legs. It was a double amputee. He lived another 17 years after that, and he was a good friend of mine. And I saw the guy over the years. He stayed at my house a few times over the course of the years, and he had good days and he had bad days. And I always wondered, how could he possibly have a good day? The guy gets up in the morning. How can he possibly get up in the morning? He has a good day and a bad day. How can he possibly get up in the morning? And so there are some days that he was upbeat, he was upbeat. We would argue with each other, we would go at it like we did in the old days. There are other days you could tell that he was down. So the Baal Shem Tov says like this: a person can have an objective situation in life. Let's say a person loses money, a person may lose a relative, a person may go through a difficulty, a person may be in physical pain, a person may be a double amputee. Okay, that's the judgment on Rosh Hashanah. And Rosh Hashanah is the judgment that's what you have to go through. But how you deal with it, how much does it hurt you on every subsequent day? That a man is judged every day. There are certain days, in other words, the person got an objective rate, there's an objective problem here. I have no money, it's an objective problem. There are certain days you wake up, it doesn't bother you at all. There are certain days that you're going to be on your head all day long. Because that's a separate judgment. The objective reality isn't going to change. The objective reality doesn't change. It could change, certain things could happen within the natural running of the world. We don't know what the judgment is. So a guy who has no money, it could be he's going to win the lottery the next day. I'm talking about where something is an objective. A guy who's a double amputee, there were no science had not yet come up with leg transplants or the technology in order to give it. He had a prosthesis, but it wasn't in a great place. So maybe one day science will come along with ways that no, they do things. They come up with all sorts of people who never had eyes that they could see computerized vision, and they could do cornea transplants and all the things that they couldn't do 20 years ago. All of a sudden that they're able to do. Seder. At the end of the day, the guy who's in an objective, so you should always hope. You could always hope. On the other hand, the guy who's in an objectively different situation, he haven't won the lottery yet. And I'm still the same way I was yesterday. There's a different judgment each day. How much is it going to hurt the person? How much is it going to affect? Some days you think about it all day long, some days you don't think about it at all. That's the second judgment. That's a person who's judged every day. Now, yeah, go ahead.
So doesn't have Bechira on the way he changes his mind?
You do, factoring in Bechira, but then you have to factor Bechira with the pain factor. In other words, there's some sort of pain factor. Now use your Bechira to deal with this pain factor. Yeah, right? You get the interplay between the two. Yeah. That's a good question. But at the end of the day, there's also the divine touch over here. Sometimes just, things are going so well. In other words, a guy who's poor, but all of a sudden, his sports team won that day. And what do you call it? And he just found out that that his brother-in-law got a promotion, and just things happened that made him happy. That's like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is helping you that you don't even think about your problem. You understand? Then, if you have to think about it, but then you have to deal with it and try to make the most of it. Now, I had a guy here once. Let me tell you an interesting mashal. There's a man. He has a son, and his son goes off to a foreign land, and he gets married. He has a family, father's never got to meet his son. He never got to meet his daughter-in-law. Now they have grandchildren. He wants to meet his son. He can't wait to go meet his son. Okay. So the father gets on a boat, a 2-week trip till he gets there. And, every morning on the boat he gets up, and we see the land yet. He can't wait to meet his son. His son and daughter-in-law know that he's coming. He sends a message ahead that he's coming. And he travels 2 weeks on the boat, and he travels. And all of a sudden one morning he sees there's land. He can't wait. And the boat is getting closer. The boat is getting closer to the port. And he sees hundreds of people on the port waiting to greet the people on the boat. And he knows very soon he's going to see his son, his daughter-in-law, and all his grandchildren. And the boat goes in, and the boat pulls into port. And as it pulls into port, he's looking through, and people are being greeted left, right, and center. Son's not there. Son's not there. Daughter-in-law's not there. Nobody's there. Nobody from his family is there. He says, I guess they must have mixed up the date. They must have not realized maybe something happened. He had to start getting nervous. So he takes his bags. He's got lots of gifts for his son and his daughter, for the grandchildren. He's got gifts. He hires a horse and a wagon. And he takes the horse and the wagon, starts driving over. He knows where his son lives. He figures, okay, they must be waiting for me at home. He's going to get a royal greeting. He drives up to the house. As he gets to the house, things look kind of dark. Now he's really nervous. Maybe they say had an emergency. They left. Gets to the house. He sees the house is dark, but there's one little candle is burning in the house. So he starts knocking on the door. Nothing. Knock, knock, knock. All of a sudden he goes, yeah, who is it? Because it's me. It's your father. I'm here. And so I was, oh, Dad, listen, I forgot you're coming. Listen, we all got into bed already. We're really tired. Maybe just go over to the local motel. I'll come over. We'll see you tomorrow morning. His father turns around, goes to the motel. He's bitterly disappointed. Goes back to the motel. And the next morning he says, the heck with them. Turns around, goes right back to the dock, gets on the next ship, and he goes home. In the meantime, the son wakes up and he says, look, what did I do? And he goes running over to the port. And he gets to the port. He gets to the motel. They said, no, your father left or he went to the port. He gets to the port. The ship is already out at sea. He says, we blew it. We blew our opportunity. We blew the opportunity. So, the Musar greats say, they get an opportunity once a year. Yom Kippur comes around. We're heading for Yom Kippur right now. Yom Kippur, contrary to popular belief, is a very joyous day. Tisha B'Av, which we just passed, is a sad day. Tisha B'Av is a day of mourning. Yom Kippur is not a sad day. Yom Kippur is it's an intense day, and in a certain extent it's a difficult day because we're fasting, but it's a very happy day. I mean, could you imagine a guy who's got he's got a drawer full of traffic violations which he's neglected, and he's summoned to court. And if you could convince the judge that you'll never do it again and you regret, he'll wipe out the whole thing. You got 200 tickets. I had 9 when I left America. I had 9 parking tickets. I used to park in front of hydrants. There was always a space. There was always a space in front of hydrants. And so guys, when you go to a movie, people are driving around the block, say, heck, what does? I just park it as a hydrant. It fits the car, fits right in. And then what's the worst that could happen? I figured my keen logic was like this. The worst will happen is I get a ticket. So I won't pay the ticket. What are you going to do, arrest me? Right? What's the worst gap? There'll be a fire, and they'll have to chop apart my car in order to get to the hydrant. There hasn't been, I looked at the odds. There has not been a fire in front of this house in the last 200 years. Right? Now, what are the chances that in the next 2.5 hours there will be a fire right in front of this house? So I was willing to take my chance. I had 9 parking tickets in my glove compartment when I left. My parents sold my car. I got a call from my mother. I come to Israel. I came to her. So I go, oh yeah, we sold the car. We got this. By the way, there were 9 parking tickets in your glove compartment. I said, yeah, I didn't pay those. Yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah. She goes, oh, we paid them. Mom, why? She said, well, we were worried, she was worried that they wouldn't let me back into the country. The FBI would be after me, I'd be wanted. They'd stop me at the border. I'd go on my record, that's So, what do you call it? So Yom Kippur is a happy day. You have a chance to go to court and get your entire slate. All you got to do is convince the judge that you regret it. And the judge will let you off, and he wants to let you off. That's a joyous day. That's what Yom Kippur really is. What happens is, I had a guy here once who was a professional. He played in the Israeli Professional Basketball League. Yeah, he was their student or something. An Israeli guy played in the Israeli Professional Basketball League, which means that he was roughly the equivalent of a good American high school player. And he played in the Israeli basketball league. And yeah, like somebody said, Jay Cutler, who we're stuck with for about 6 years. Jay Cutler is the best mediocre quarterback in the NBA, in the NFL. I think he's a very good high school quarterback. So this guy told me that part of his training was, he told me, they had to sit, the coach would make two guys sit across the table from each other and stare in each other's eyes for a couple of hours without cracking a smile. And they had to stare in each other's eyes. Why? It was a way of trying to get them to concentrate. So again, I'm trying to concentrate. You have to learn how to concentrate. That's what he told me. I don't know if it's a couple hours, even 20 minutes. I do it with my kids. We play who could crack up first, But they had us for an extended period of time stare in each other's eyes as a way of getting, that way when you're shooting a free throw and people are spitting things and making things in the background, you're able to focus and concentrate. This is the point of the year where a person, as difficult and challenging as I think you experience this on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. The first day of Rosh Hashanah is all, we're all gung-ho, we're all focused. Then it comes the second day of Rosh Hashanah. It's kind of like, oh boy, here we go again. This is going to be a long one now. And sometimes a person just has to reach back a little bit and maintain that concentration. Now, I remember I was an assistant coach in high school. We were coaching a high school team. We were playing the second place team. And it was a close game. It was a team that we should not have had any trouble with. Oh, they weren't even a second place team. We were in first place, and this was a game that we should have waltzed, and we were having trouble with them. So our guys, this happened to be a black team, and the guys I think were just a little rattled. They weren't used to it. They were not playing well, and it was about a 4-point game in the fourth quarter. And the other coach calls a timeout. Okay, the team comes on, and we start playing. About a minute later, he calls a timeout. He yanks his starters. He puts in the substitutes, and then we pulled away, won by about 10, 12 points. So I went to him after the game. I said, why'd you do that? Why did you pull your starters? I said, we had a game over there. Why did you pull your starters? He said, I'll tell you something. I called the play in the huddle, in the timeout. I called the play. The guys went on the court. Not one of the 5 did what they were supposed to do when I called that play. Not one went to the right place or did what he was supposed to do. I don't care about the game. These guys got to learn how to follow instructions. They didn't follow instructions, I yank them. I don't care about the game. Right? So I remember I thought to myself, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us an assignment in life. We have an assignment. We have to follow instructions. We have to follow Hashem's instructions. Nobody's got any guarantees. Nobody's got any guarees. A person has to learn to follow instructions. Yom Kippur comes along, and the goal of Yom Kippur is, hey, let's get focused a little bit. Get focused. It's not easy. Let's get focused on where we're really going with all of this. We have to go into Yom Kippur. We're told if you believe the day is an atonement, you get an atonement. They have to get focused on it. It's not an easy thing, especially when we're fasting. But the fasting itself on Yom Kippur is a merit for us. The fasting itself is a merit. And the day is a day when a person goes in, you know what it requires more than anything else? We have to be honest. It requires a certain amount of honesty, more just raw honesty, because we have to confront ourselves. Confronting other people is not so hard. We have to be alone with ourselves. We have to confront ourselves. What am I doing? Am I capable of a little bit more? Am I really living up to what I should be doing? Am I doing things which may be below my dignity at this point? It's a very difficult thing to admit. I was going to England. I'm at customs at border control in England. So because I'm a Kohen, so there was a problem at the time because sometimes they bring bodies on planes, the Kohen company. So flying into England, I flew into England, and England was a big Jewish community. So what I did is I routed myself when I left England, flew to West Germany, and coming out of Frankfurt, there's no problem. It's not a big Jewish community. The likelihood of bodies is such I don't have to check for it. Okay. So I get to border control, customs over there in England, and we have a card that we have to fill out. So I filled out on the card, I'm a teacher. Okay. So I get there, there's a Hindu security guard. Big, tall guy, must have been about 6'3", got a big bushy beard, and he's wearing a tichel, right? And he's wearing one of the headdress. Right? And as I get there, there's immediate tension between us. I don't know why. For some reason, I could sense he did not like me, right? So he says, let me see your card. Very gruff. He says, let me see your card. So he says, he looks at the card and says, what do you teach? So I said, Torah. So he kind of flinched. He looked at me, and I could tell a little flinch in the eye because he didn't know what Torah was. And I knew that he didn't know what Torah was. And he goes, why are you flying through Germany? He said, how long are you staying here? I said, a week. He says, why are you flying back through Germany? Suspected, it was a haven for terrorists at the time. Why are you flying back through Germany? So I looked up at him, I said, well, because I'm a Kohen and there's a problem with Tuma. And there are poskim that are makil, but I'm machmir, so I'm going to go through Germany because there's a posep tefah. The guy's looking at me and I'm looking at him, and we're staring into each other's eyes. It was probably the most delicious 5 seconds of my life. He's looking at me and I'm just looking at him like this, and he's looking down at me, and he didn't know a word I was talking about. I knew he didn't know a word I was talking about, and he knew that I knew he didn't know a word I was talking about. And now I saw the internal battle. You can see clearly in his eyes, he's fighting this internal battle. Will I admit the truth that I don't know? Now, again, I'm a suspected terrorist here. So again, he looks at me and goes, what do you teach? I said, Torah. Stamps there, you could go in. Now, 1 second, you thought I was a terrorist, buddy, and you didn't understand a word I just said. That might have been a code for blowing up your house. You know, how do you, why did you let me? The answer is he couldn't admit the truth. He just could not. I could say it was so clear. It was written in his eyes. The struggle. I enjoyed every moment of it. What can I tell you? I enjoyed every moment of it. The struggle in his eyes. The only thing I enjoyed more, or that I could have enjoyed more. You should see this guy. It was unbelievable. I was once on the sleeve. I was walking on a plane in L.A. I'm walking on the sleeve, and a guy walks over, comes up behind me, and says, "Hey, excuse me, sir. I'm the pilot. Do you mind if I ask you a question?" Ooh, the pilot talking to me. I was touched. He goes, can I ask you, are there Hasidic Jews outside of New York also? I thought there were only Hasidic Jews in New York. So I said, no, there are Hasidic Jews outside. I personally am not a Hasidic Jew. The fact that I wear a black hat doesn't make me Hasidic, but there are Hasidic Jews outside of New York as well. He says, oh, thank you very much. I didn't offend you, did I? Yeah, I made a mistake. I said, no. I made a big mistake. I just said, well, as a matter of fact, yes, and maybe a seat in first class might take care of the pain. So I blew it. It was a golden opportunity, which I blew. So you get to this point of the year, and you're just going to start clopping away over Al-Khair. I did this, I did that. And the guy's got to say, I insulted my wife. I did not treat my wife right. You know how hard it is to say that, especially to your wife. I did not treat my wife with due respect. I did not treat my parents with the due respect. I spoke Lashon Hara, and I got to admit it to ourselves. That's what's happening now. We just finished declaring God as the king. That's what Rosh Hashanah was. Rosh Hashanah is God's the king. You rule the world. Now that you rule the world, we got that straight. Now let me tell you what I've done and where I've come up short. That's what we're headed to. Most important thing is that you should remember, because people mix this up all the time, Yom Kippur is not a sad day. We're not sad about anything. That's a mistake, people. Yom Kippur is a joyous day. We're going in there and we're happy because we're going to be atoned for. Okay, next week in Mirz Hashem, we'll speak a little bit more about the preparations. Maybe we'll even go through the Al-Khair. Okay.